Welcome to Town Hall number 80, everybody within the platformOS community. It's great to have everybody here. As you can see, I'm in a beautiful place, beautiful part of the world as I'm in lockdown, and I hope you're all safe and well wherever you happen to be. Of course, it's green screen magic, so please don't call the police onto me. I'm really at home. So awesome, as always, opportunity to have Kata, our Director of UX, part of our town halls. And this one is a very special one, apart from being a special number, 80. It's also about the community and how grateful we are to the platformOS community for all of the feedback and contribution that they've made to helping us get platformOS to where it is today. We're getting a lot of kudos from a lot of development channel partners, from others external who are coming and evaluating the platform, and that's all been because of the feedback that we've had from our community and involvement. So today what we're going to do is we've officially kicked off our own project for building the community site that you've all been waiting for years. And we're going to go through with Kata on the design thinking method and why she's been driving ahead and using that for the new community site, using an empathetic understanding of the user needs and why it's crucial to every project, not just this project, but all projects that you do with your clients, empathy and really understanding the needs of the user to create the most optimum user experience, and also ensure that you create authenticity with your clients, and how you as the platformOS community members can help to plan and contribute to the community site. So without further ado, muting me, and it's all you, Kata.
Thank you, Adam. So hi, everyone. So we thought that we'd share the first steps of the Planet platformOS community site. And first, let's see the topics in detail, what I brought to you. So in this presentation, I'd like to talk a bit about our current community activities. Then I'd like to share the method we are using to plan our new community site. We just started to work with the first stage of design thinking this week, and we have some results we'd like to share with you. But most importantly, what we'd like to ask is your input on this topic to be able to have a better understanding of your needs. So, we already have an active and inspiring community here. One of our main communication channels with you is a dedicated Slack channel where you can ask questions, share ideas, and get to know our team members and each other. You can share what you learned, plan your module development in sync with our roadmap and each other's project. Also, allocate your resources according to what's going on in the business and the wider community. Besides that, we offer different ways to contribute to our documentation according to your skill levels and the time, of course, you can put in. You can also participate in bi-weekly town halls, just as this one. And we also run UX research sessions that you can join to make platformOS more user-friendly. We also offer several ways to stay in the loop, like the weekly status report, release notes, in the roadmap, and in our blog, of course. And now it's time to bring everything together and into one place and give this community a community site. So as in case of our other sites, we'd also like to follow the method of design thinking. We seek to understand users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to prototype and test. And the problem is when a person or a group of people can't reach their goals. And this process helps to reframe these problems in a human-centric way and allows designers to focus on what's most important for users. So this method consists of 5 phases: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test, as you can see it on the slide. We already talked a bit about this when we introduced how we developed our documentation site. This method helps designers carry out the right kind of research, create prototypes, and test out products and services to uncover new ways to meet user needs. So as I mentioned, we are at the first stage of the design thinking process. This first stage allows us to gain an empathic understanding of the problem through user research. Empathy is crucial to human-centered design process like design thinking, because it allows you to set aside your own assumptions about the world and gain real insights into users and their needs. During this step, we collect as much information from users as possible. So far, we conducted semi-structured preliminary interviews. During this step, we focused on the goals. Why are we planning to create a community site? And we also collect the problems we can solve by creating this new community site. The reason we focused on this, that the user experience is primarily influenced by the user's goals and the situation of use, like the context, and then any parameters of the system. So we'd like to discover and understand what problems you are facing through stories, because we want to capture stories about why you like certain communities. The reason why we search for stories is that they have the ability to form a common thread through a project, so team members can stay focused and inspired. Also, stories are a great way to infuse empathy into your design project and can be extremely useful for design thinkers. So let me share some of the key findings of these stories. Of course, we will carry on our research. So this is, as I mentioned, just the first bunch of stories we collected. In the dev communities, users prefer to get things done. And related to that, quickly find answers to their problems is a key factor. Those communities were highlighted that support getting things done by making it easier to identify helpful answers with their design. Also, another key element was providing acknowledgement to those who are sharing and contributing. Knowledge sharing through blog posts is another key aspect. This way the community gets content, the user gets an audience, and basically it's a win-win situation. Also, solving problems via real-time chatting is commonly used. Users talked about their groups and how those naturally formed in community places. So we believe that our job here at platformOS is to inspire and equip developers to build the next generation of amazing applications. This means understanding what they are trying to do, pointing them to tools and training, and generally helping them to be successful. So far in the interviews, we wanted to understand your needs and problems to solve, and based on that, the following goals emerged. A community site helps get things done. A community site connects platformOS community members. A community site shows ways to let community members express themselves and encourage them to contribute back to the community. For example, celebrate active community members, share success stories, provide loyalty rewards. A community site supports knowledge sharing related to platformOS technology. A community site also helps partner companies to connect with people, to learn, and also to solve problems. So, thank you for listening. Now we'd like to hear your recent stories with communities. In which communities do you feel that you can reach your goal? How do you feel here in the platformOS community? Or really any stories, what you feel that fits into this context?
So that's an open invitation. Who would like to kick it off? I see Martin leaning in. So I saw that. I saw him had take a drink of his apple cider there a moment ago. Scott, Liz, what are your experiences in other communities and what really keeps you going back to them?
I'll jump in. Uh, Actually, I'll start with the platformOS community. So I had heard of Daniel before because of the Business Catalyst community, but it wasn't until we started interacting through platformOS that we started meeting once a week. And that's really helped us a lot, or at least it's helped me. So for 1 hour or 1 to 2 hours per week, we meet and just go over stuff that we have been working on. So it's been really helpful.
Brilliant. Kata, what we might do is just stop the screen sharing now so that as each person talks, we'll have the focus on them. So that's great, Scott. What other forums and places that you have also gravitated to for? I know you do a lot of video production, right? I've seen green screens and stuff like that with what you've done.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of video stuff. And as for a community, I'm in Manhattan now, but up until recently I was in Connecticut, and I started an Adobe user group, and there we had a lot of video people. So that local community was really helpful. In fact, one of the guys that helped me set up the studio and all that, I met through that community. So basically through a meetup, we brought a bunch of people together, all Adobe related products. And that got me going down the video road, and it helped out. It would have been very difficult without a local community to help me out.
And that also included the physical meetups as well, separately from this environment, which obviously will become more and more prevalent, the online side of things, because of social distancing and what have you. But that physical meetup, what did that do to the dynamic of how you felt about the community?
So maybe rephrase that. What do you mean?
So the difference between communities that you've been involved with where they were purely online versus ones that also brought the physical connectedness in real life.
Yeah, so the big part with that was maybe physical things. So, somebody would bring in a camera. In fact, we had one meeting where we had someone who was an expert in photography. So everyone brought their own personal camera, and he would talk about general things that would basically apply to every camera. And so everyone's sitting there with their own camera, going through all their settings, trying to figure out things. And he was able to teach everybody at the same time, even though they had different cameras, which would have been a little bit more difficult online, because he was actually going and like picking up your camera and showing you things and doing things like that. Also, the video stuff was really important in person, because again, a lot of there was video cameras and things just to kind of show you that would be very difficult to do online, just that face-to-face sort of thing. Also, older people, some people don't, now I think everyone's getting more comfortable with like Zoom, but maybe the last few years not so case for some older people, and so we have some older people come in and share their wisdom to the group. So that was another advantage of being in person.
Brilliant. I know with the Business Catalyst, back in the day, we would have those get-togethers, having a meal together, having a laugh together, playing table tennis or ping pong, whatever you call it. Though Maciek would have beat us if he was there. He's a champion at that. It helps with that bonding process that you don't quite get the same dynamic as you do in real life versus online. So I think there's so many positives to that. Who else has got some a community that comes to mind? Could be even online knitting. I've heard about the knitting community as a whole subculture. And now that you can't physically go there, people are turning on their screens, doing FaceTime or getting to a Zoom, and they knit one, purl one, and that type of thing. Is there other, outside of the tech space, experiences that somebody's had around a community like that?
Yeah, I've got one. It's completely unrelated to tech, really. But
this is Josh?
Yeah, this is Josh. And so I quite like cars, and I take an active interest in modifying them, personalizing them for my own needs. And getting into it originally was very difficult. There's a very steep learning curve to fixing and mending things on cars, electronics, and everything like that. And so I was at a loss for how to do things on my car. Now, there's a load of general information on cars out on the internet, but each car is completely different from the next one. And soon enough, I found a forum that is all for people who have exactly my kind of car. And so I started delving through the community. I started learning some information. I started picking up stuff just by browsing through things that I didn't completely understand yet. But the more time I invested into that, the more time I spent to people, I made personal connections. I actually went and meet people, worked on their cars. They taught me how to do things, and went to go meet other people. Big groups of people will go together and show off their cars. And now I'm at the point where I could change a clutch if I wanted to. Something that I would have never thought possible without a good group of people who are like-minded and are very supportive. It's amazing when you get a group of people who have a common interest, how much information and care that other people can really have. Clark actually asked what car it was. It's a Ford Focus ST, actually. But yeah, that's my example. It really is a sense of community that it's great to be engaged in, and it's good to have such a good community like the platformOS community, because there aren't as really very many tech communities that feel this close knit and have a real sense of almost friendship between all the members of the group.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that really shifted the business Catalyst business, was the fact that the community weren't really competitors. There was some competition, but it was that cooperative competition, and everybody wanted to share the knowledge. And there's just so much work out there that was the realization for us, that the channel partner in the community was what would make this business grow. And it's exactly what's happening with platformOS, even to a greater degree, because everybody can literally build anything and go in so many different directions with the platform, that you're building your own communities on top of the platform, like you're doing with SiteGlide. And I know that you're nurturing a great community. Wonderful video, by the way, that the SiteGlide team put out just recently on their event module. Kudos. So anybody else got some feedback? By the way, my clutch burnt out on my car, so I'll have to get you to share some of that wisdom.
Yeah, I've got a story. Yeah, along the lines of Josh, not many know, but Carol and I have just bought a camper van, and we haven't been able to go out much because of the whole COVID thing. But it's amazing. We didn't know what all the moving pieces were on this van, so we've been diving into Eurovan groups on Facebook, and it's been a huge help. So just another example of that.
Louise, I'm going to admit him. I've set up a waiting room system. So there's a whole bunch of security things you can do with Zoom, by the way, to stop what we had previously in our attempt to run the meeting. So we're good to go in future. That little episode hopefully won't happen again. So Kata, is there some things that, in terms of feedback from the partners and the research that you've done so far, where are we at in that stage in your mind as far as a version 1? Do you feel you have enough information? Do we have the feedback loop in place now that and the information at your disposal to take it to the next step?
So yeah, for the next step, what we'd like to take is actually based on the information what we have. We like to map out all the items we have. I call them items, but those really are the results, the goals of these stories, and we like to match those with the different personas, because we know that our community have a lot of different, I would call them, yeah, maybe different groups then, and they have different goals, different things what they like to achieve, and we like to have a better understanding of those, and these can help us to map out the information architecture of the site in the best possible way. But what I'm still seeking for is stories, because I always feel that we can't have enough stories here. All of the stories can help us in a way to understand also the problems, because I also know that we want this community site, so we definitely need something more what we already have. So we most probably facing with problems nowadays, not too big problems maybe, but those kind of things what we can solve with this community site, what can help leverage what we have in terms of our community. So that's why I'd like to hear those stories, so we can see what are the places where we can actually help with this community site. So not just simply providing a place which collects all of the data, which is of course help. We have a common understanding of community sites. Also, we know a lot of things, what the community sites, what other community sites doing, but we also like to add something more there.
Yeah, so we'll have the fundamentals, and people can create their own little groups or subgroups. Like, you know, Josh wants to work on a particular make and model of a car. In our context, it's like I use Vue, or I use Node or Angular, or I'm particularly interested in JavaScript web tokens and specific authentication methodology. So there's a group for that. But beyond that, what are the parts that we don't know yet? And that's what Kata is asking for, you know, that extra little bit that just keeps people coming back. And especially as we grow and bring more people in, give them the information and connect them with the right people beyond the immediate platformOS team, to connect with other members of the community to increase their ability to partner, learn, share, and all of those things. So there's a couple of questions I think that might have come through. Martin was going to ask about groups and subgroups. Yes. And then badges and gamification tends to work well as well. Yep, definitely. Having the badge approach, giving people that sense of achievement as they progress on different things, being seen as an expert in one topic of interest, but maybe a noob in something else. I know there's a few people in the team, like Maciek, of course, that you know, he's an expert in everything, and you should see his design work. Oh, that's one area that we don't let him touch. But yeah, so having those experts in subject matter is really important. Video is going to be great too. I think we have Daniel in the room, and he's been working on an awesome the Twilio video integration, and having that as part of our community site. So video profile, as well as video group chat with 4 or maybe more. We'll see. We've got the option to increase that, but small group breakouts. Typically, you want 3 or 4 people who want to have a quick chat over a particular subject, share the code. So, you know, it might not be the camera that's physically in your hand, but I bring up my console and you take me through it, and you can look at the code and go, oh, that's where your problem is. Or you're using a specific framework that is new to you. Somebody can come in and say that give some advice around implementation. Well, there we go. What else, Kata? Do you have any other things to bring up, or are we able to wrap it up and let you continue to have a nice evening? You're on mute, I think, Kata. There we go.
So if we won't have any more stories today, I definitely will reach out to you through Slack and try to collect some more stories. And we also putting up all of our user experience research related data on our documentation site one by one. And that also helps, if you just find out that you like to join one of our research, ongoing research, then you can do that as well.
So we do have Martin's, I think it was Martin, has asked questions about, are we going to be sharing things related to structure and other stuff? What are we going to be using for instant messaging and PubSub and all of that cool stuff as far as user experience at the technical level? Yes, we will be sharing that over time. And we'll actually get to a point where we turn that into a module. Probably not the first iteration. Version 1, we want to get up and get working. Won't boil the ocean. It'll be good today is better than perfect never. But the underlying framework will be very usable. And we're going to share that journey. So you'll be able to see it. In fact, I'm going to just give a quick little highlights some of the things that has happened in the past when we've had our channel partners involved in an earlier go at the community site. Kata has collected all of that detail and actually has started the community site architecture questionnaire, something that she has put together, and who the target audience is, etc. The user stories, some inspiration that we've gotten from other community sites elsewhere. And so this has a lot of meat behind it, and that is what is going to get turned into articles that we're going to share on our site as well. So that'll be cool. Design previews, they will be in line with the design system that Jeng has already created for our brand. So it will be on brand, similar to the new marketing site and the new partner portal site designs that you might have got a sneak peek at in the Inner Circle channel recently. There was a conversation about modules, the module marketplace in particular, and that will be part of something. In fact, I might even have a Figma. Yeah, I have a Figma page that I might be able to share if it loads fast enough. So we will be sharing some of that. Kata, do you have any final thoughts?
I just wanted to thank you that sharing the stories today, and also that we will carry on collecting these stories. So if anything else comes into your mind that you'd like to share, feel free to drop me a Slack message. We can do an interview and also dive a bit deeper into the stories you would like to share. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Kata. And yeah, there's a lot of work that's been going on behind the scenes on the new partner portal. These are some of the designs that Jeng has put together after the research that Kata has done. Of course, the new marketing site is up and live. The community site will be using the design system that's been built here, so it won't be unfamiliar. As you've seen the new brand rolling out with the new marketing site, be in line with that. As far as the functionality, we do have groups as being a major part of that, the ability to have chat and instant messaging, and for public, private, and secret meetings to take place as you need. So that will be coming along. Thanks, Martin. Yeah, the new site is looking ace. That's a word I used to use a lot back in the day too. I like that word. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming back in after our initial start. Appreciate that. Kata, thanks for staying up late tonight. Thanks for all the work you're doing behind the scenes, bringing all of that initial work that we did back in the day around the community to distill it into something that we can then turn into a real site in the imminent future. So this is an active project, everybody. Please send your feedback to Kata, and we look forward to getting everyone out of Slack and into our new community site as soon as possible. So thank you. All right, well, we will end it there, and we'll see you at the next town hall. Bye for now.